Okay, we are back, finally. Mushoku Tensei Volume 5. Been a little bit since I've done one of these. I have been reading, though. I've been trying to read more. I'm hoping to get through more volumes per year. The next season of the anime comes out, I believe it is in the summer of 2026, so it's coming up soon. Pretty stoked about that. But yeah, I'm reading these a lot slower than I thought I would. They're really not even that long. I just haven't made it a priority to read these, but we're back. I finished volume 5. And this one was like, it had some highs and then it had some slows. But overall, I think it was pretty fun. So we start off, it's been 18 months since the Fatoa incident. The gang, they make it to Milishone. It's a beautiful city. And as soon as they get there, Geese takes off. He's the guy that Rudy met in jail when he was with the wolf dog people, the beast people. But the other three are hanging out. They're planning a meeting at the inn. Then Rudy goes off shopping. He sees some thugs that are kidnapping kids, or a kid at this point. He follows the thugs to a warehouse and he starts fighting them. It turns out the boss of the thugs seems very familiar to Rudy, and it's actually his dad. Rudy, he's in. Let's see if I can find where it's at. But Rudy goes into this place like he's trying. He thinks that it's that they're kidnapping and hurting kids, but it turns out to be something very different, and he ends up meeting his dad, Paul. Then we, in the next chapter, we follow Paul's story, and we've seen what he's been up to for the last few years. He and Norm have been hanging out ever since the incident, and they spent a lot of time searching for Paul and Rudy's family and trying to save people from Fatoa, saving people have become slaves that were in the Fatoa region. So in the next chapter, Rudy tells Paul his story of how he got there, and it really ticked Paul off. And Rudy's kind of confused, like, why are you mad, Dad? Like, I'm alive. I'm telling you about my adventure of going to the Demon Continent and how I survived all of that, who I was with and whatnot. And Rudy, he tells the extent of the disaster, but Rudy didn't realize that all the people from his village are missing. Even like Zenith is gone, Sylphia's gone, and he's missing his family, but also all the other people that were living there too. And a lot of those people are probably dead. And Paul, since then, has been on a search and rescue mission to find his family, to find all of these different people and slaves, and return them back home. After this discussion, Rudy gets in a fight with Paul. I think they literally throw fists. And Rudy leaves, and he's pissed, and he goes back to the hotel. He tells Rudyard and Eris about it, and Eris comforts him, but she's also ticked now. She freaking hates Paul. In the next chapter, Paul and Geese have a chat about Rudy and all the stuff that went down, because Geese was actually there, and he has more of an insight to what was actually going on. He was there. He got to see the extent of Rudy's power and what went down, especially during that beast, the beast people arc there. So it's really cool. Like, Geese is such a fun character where he kind of seems like a sleazeball, but he's pretty wise, and he's able to just smooth and sweet talk people and kind of help them understand the different situation of what's going on, especially with Paul. Like, Paul is a drunkard at this point. All he does is drink because he's so depressed and super ticked, and he misses his wives and his children and the other people that are in his his village that he's been around for years and whatnot. So yeah, Paul and Geese have a chat, and after a while, Paul starts to feel bad because he's like, oh, I get it. Like, it's so hard for Paul, but other people in this universe to like look at Rudy as a kid, because he doesn't act like a kid. He's very mature for the most part, and he is very skilled at what he does. He's a very skilled mage. So when people look at Rudy, they're like, yeah, this isn't a kid. And obviously we as the readers know that Rudy's actually a 40-year-old man inside a child's body. But regardless, after the chat, Paul feels bad and he wants to go apologize to Rudy. And so they both see each other, and they start chatting, and Rudy starts to realize how hard it must have been for his dad, and Paul starts to be grateful that his son's alive. He's starting to see the small and major wins in what he's done for the last little bit. And these both these guys, Paul and Rudy, actually break down, and they have a nice moment together, and they're both crying. And this was like the highlight for me anyway of this whole volume, was just their reunion. I remember it a little bit from the anime, but like I said, it's been years since I've watched some of these parts in the anime. But yeah, it's that to me, like I said, was kind of the highlight of the volume. But anyway, Rudy starts talking to his dad, and he's telling him about their plan to go back to the Futoa region. Like Rudy's trying to get Eris back to her family. So, they're chatting. Rudy meets the rest of Paul's gang, some of his assistants. They talk about how Paul's missed months of work because he's just been on a drunken bender. Like the man is super depressed. So, Rudy meets his sister. She's grown up. She's also ticked at Rudy because Rudy punched her dad. But, they have more chats talking about them leaving. At one point, there's like this nice dinner thing that Rudy and Eris go to when they're going to talk to Paul. Eris is meeting Paul. Like I said, she's still super ticked at him. Norm is also still mad at Rudy, so there's like a little family quarrel going on. Anyway, Rudy's party ends up leaving. They end up leaving the region, and Paul continues his search while Rudy is going to search/get Eris back to her home. So we have like a little interlude chapter where Eris goes off goblin slaying, and she actually saves one of the temple knights. Her name is Teresa. Saves her from assassins, which is going to play a role later. And then after that, Rudy and the gang, they get held up because people thought that a letter that Rudy was given was forged. But it turns out that Teresa, that Eris saved, she's there and sees Eris, and apparently Teresa is Rudy's aunt. The gang leaves for the Millis continent, and that concludes, the base content for the volume. But then we get a few bonus chapters. I think this is Teresa and Rudy. So we're going to see more of Teresa. I think it's, I think this is Rudy's mom's sister, but I could be wrong. Anyway, we get our two bonus chapters. The first chapter is covers Roxy. She actually goes back home to her family. And one interesting thing that I thought about Roxy going back home is her parents are like, hey, you need to at least come visit every 20 years or so, because they have a very extensive life, being from I can't remember what specific demon race or whatever she's from, but anyway, Roxy, goes back home. She finds out that her and Rudy crossed paths at one point. So yeah, it's just kind of a fun little Roxy adventure. And then the second bonus chapter is Rudy and company go to a restaurant. They order food. Rudy is served fried rice, or I think he's served rice with fried meat. I can't remember if it's fried rice or not. But anyway, Rudy loves the rice, but rips into the owner for serving bad meat. The owner hadn't gotten many customers. He has then shut down his shop. And it turns out the death god is the guy that owned the shop. It's the death god Randolph Marine. It's probably going to play a role later. And then in the next bonus chapter, I didn't write any notes on it, but I do remember that it's the death of Ariel. She is the princess, but it turns out she didn't actually die. They were in like a caravan or something. Sylphie was with her, but this chapter was like all hearsay. It was kind of told from a different character's perspective, who was like a spy of some sort, and he's like, yeah, I saw her die. But turns out he was wrong. She didn't actually die. So anyway, that is Volume 5. Like I said, the highlight of this one was Paul and Rudy's reunion. Pretty cool. Where we are at with the anime. Like the last season that we saw. I won't spoil anything, but it was intense. Very intense. Let's just say that like after seeing that season of the anime and then seeing the reunion. Man, it makes me sad. But yeah, this is fun. I still love Mushoku Tensei. Every time I read it, I have a good time. Sometimes I have to force myself to read it. But the beauty of reading the light novels versus the anime that I've already seen is there's stuff in these light novels that did not get animated. So it still is like reading and experiencing it again for the first time. Most parts anyway. And like I said, it's been years since I've seen the anime, so I have forgotten a lot of the details. So it is fun. But yeah, hopefully I can just make it a habit to start reading these more so I can make more of these reviews, because I do enjoy it. Like I said, every time I jump in and read these books, I have a good time. So that is it though. That is volume 5 of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on Paul and Rudy's reunion, and if you don't know where the story's going next, let me know where you think it's going next. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it rad.